I never thought I'd become that guy. The one who walks out of a job without looking back. But trust me, after what my boss did, I didn't just quit. I made sure he'd never forget my name. It all started when I joined the company. On paper, it looked perfect. Decent salary. Flexible hours. Supportive team environment. Yeah, that was a lie. My boss, let's call him Daniel, seemed normal at first. Friendly. Smiling. The kind of guy who says things like, "Hey, we're like a family here." I should have seen the red flag right there. Because in my experience, whenever a company says we're family, it usually means they expect you to suffer for free. The first few weeks were fine. I worked hard. Stayed late sometimes. Helped teammates when they needed it. And Daniel noticed. But not in a good way. He didn't see me as a hard-working employee. He saw me as someone he could use. It started small. "Hey, can you just stay an extra hour today?" "Sure. No problem." Then it became, "Can you come in this Saturday?" Just this once. I hesitated, but agreed. Big mistake. Because just this once turned into every weekend. Every single weekend. No extra pay. No appreciation. Just more work. At first, I tried to be reasonable. I went to Daniel and said, "Hey, I don't mind helping occasionally, but I can't keep working weekends every week." He smiled. That fake, corporate smile. And said, "We all have to make sacrifices sometimes." Sacrifices. Funny word. Because somehow, it was always me making them. Weeks turned into months. My friends stopped inviting me out. My family started asking why I was always busy. I was exhausted. Burned out. And worst of all, trapped. Then came the breaking point. It was Friday evening. I was already tired after working a 10-hour shift. I packed my bag, ready to go home. Then Daniel called me into his office. He didn't even look up from his computer. Just said, "I need you to come in this weekend." I froze. Not again. Not this time. I took a deep breath and said, "I can't. I've already worked the last 6 weekends. I need a break." That's when he finally looked at me. And his expression changed. The friendly mask was gone. He leaned back in his chair and said, "If you're not willing to be a team player, maybe this isn't the right place for you." There it was. A threat. Clear as day. I felt something snap inside me. All those weekends. All those late nights. All that unpaid work. And this is what I get. I wanted to argue. I wanted to yell. But instead, I did something else. I smiled. And said, "Okay." Daniel looked confused. He probably expected me to beg. To apologize. To give in. But I didn't. I went home that day. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel tired. I felt angry. And that anger turned into a plan. I sat down at my desk and opened my laptop. If Daniel wanted a team player, I was about to give him one. But not the kind he expected. You see, over the past few months, I had noticed something. Something very interesting. Daniel wasn't just overworking employees. He was cutting corners. Big ones. Unpaid overtime. Fake reports. Shady decisions that could get the company in serious trouble. At first, I ignored it. Not my problem, right? But now, it was. I started digging. Emails. documents, schedules, everything. And the more I looked, the worse it got. This wasn't just bad management. This was illegal. And Daniel? He was right in the middle of it. I leaned back in my chair and smiled. Because now, I had leverage. And Daniel had no idea what was coming. That weekend, I didn't go to work. Instead, I prepared. Carefully. Patiently. Because I wasn't just going to quit. I was going to end this on my terms. And by the time I was done, Daniel would wish he never asked me to work another weekend. That weekend, while everyone else was stuck in the office, I was building my exit. Not just a resignation. A statement. I spent hours going through everything I had collected. Emails. Internal reports. Timesheets. And one thing became very clear. Daniel wasn't just overworking us. He was manipulating records to make it look like nobody was working overtime. Which meant one thing. The company had no idea what was actually happening. Or, they were choosing to ignore it. Either way, I had enough. But I didn't want revenge that would just feel good for a moment. I wanted something smarter. Something that would hit where it actually hurt. So I made a plan. Step 1. Back everything up. I copied every important file. Saved every email. Took screenshots of conversations. And stored them in multiple places. Because if this went wrong, I needed insurance. Step 2. Find the right person. Going directly to Daniel was useless. He'd deny everything. Twist the story. Maybe even fire me before I could say anything. No. I needed someone above him. Someone who actually cared about the company's reputation. And that's when I found her. The regional director. Let's call her Sarah. She wasn't someone you could easily reach. But I managed to find her corporate email. I stared at the screen for a long time. One email. That's all it would take. But it had to be perfect. So I started writing. Not emotional. Not angry. Just facts. I explained everything. The forced weekends. The unpaid overtime. The falsified records. And then, I attached proof. A lot of proof. When I was done, I read it 3 times. Then I hovered over the send button. This was it. No going back after this. I clicked send. And just like that, everything changed. Monday morning, I walked into the office like nothing happened. Daniel was already there. He looked at me and said, "Glad you decided to come in today." I just nodded. Because in my head, I was counting down. Hours passed. Nothing happened. No emails. No calls. No signs. For a moment, I thought maybe it didn't work. Maybe she ignored it. Maybe it went to spam. Maybe. "Can you come to the conference room?" I looked up. One of the HR staff was standing there. And behind her was someone I had never seen in person before. Sarah. My heart started racing. This was it. I walked into the room. Closed the door behind me. Daniel was already sitting there. And for the first time since I met him, he didn't look confident. He looked nervous. Sarah sat at the head of the table. Calm. Focused. She looked at me and said, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention." Then she turned to Daniel. And everything exploded. She started listing things. One by one. Unpaid overtime. Falsified reports. Employee complaints. Daniel tried to interrupt. Tried to explain. Tried to lie. But it didn't work. Because every time he spoke, Sarah had proof. My proof. I sat there quietly, watching it all unfold. And for the first time in months, I felt in control. After what felt like hours, Sarah finally said, "We'll be conducting a full investigation." Then she looked at Daniel and added, "You're suspended effective immediately." Silence. Daniel just sat there, stunned. The same man who threatened me, who controlled my weekends, who made me feel trapped, was finished. Just like that. He looked at me, and I could see it in his eyes. He knew. He knew it was me. But there was nothing he could do. Because this time, I had the power. A few days later, the office felt different. Lighter. People were talking. Whispering. Turns out, I wasn't the only one. Other employees had started coming forward too, sharing their own experiences, their own proof. And it all pointed to one person. Daniel. The investigation didn't take long. Within 2 weeks, he was gone. Fired. And not quietly either. Upper management made an example out of him. Because what he did wasn't just bad leadership. It was a liability. And companies hate liabilities. As for me, I could have stayed. Things were improving. New management. Better policies. But I didn't. Because this was never just about fixing the job. It was about leaving on my terms. So I wrote my resignation. Short. Simple. I'm leaving effective immediately. No explanations. No emotions. Just done. On my last day, I packed my things. No drama. No speeches. But as I was about to leave, someone called my name. I turned around. It was Sarah. She walked up to me and said, "You did the right thing." I just nodded. Because honestly, it didn't feel like a big heroic moment. It just felt necessary. I walked out of that office. For the last time. And as the door closed behind me, I realized something. I didn't just quit a job. I took back control. And Daniel? He lost everything. Because he thought no one would fight back. Moral of the story? If someone keeps pushing you, taking advantage of you, making you feel like you have no choice, sometimes the best move is not to fight harder. It's to play smarter. And when you finally walk away, make sure they remember why. If you made it this far, you already know some bosses don't deserve loyalty. So tell me in the comments, what would you have done in this situation? And if you enjoy stories like this, real, raw, and sometimes savage, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because the next story might be even crazier. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Until next time, stay smart, and don't let anyone take advantage of you.